Coming to you live from New York City, it's the Hobo News Network with Adam Money and Rich Man.
Good evening. Welcome to HNN News. I'm Rich Man.
And I'm Adam Money. Tonight we have some very interesting stories about the stock market crash that happened a few months ago.
But first, we'd like to bring your attention to our brand new set.
A big upgrade from last week when we filmed Adam Fox's.
And we'd like to thank you, our viewers, for your support in going to this new set. But first, we'd like to bring our attention to the growing problem with families across America during this Great Depression. It has affected many people, and we're going to show you one example of a family strongly hurt by this stock market crash.
However, before we do that, we're going to go over to see President Hoover's public address yesterday.
Let's take a look.
My fellow Americans, do not be so alarmed by what has happened. I can assure you that things will be just as they always have been in less than 1 month's time. Your overreaction has turned this small divot in the economy into some huge depression that you believe will last years. I can truthfully tell you, that is not the case.
I don't know what it is, but something about that man I do not like.
Well, I do hope that things brighten up within the next few months, because personally, I'm really sick of this stock market depression.
Yeah, hopefully things will get brighter soon. I mean, it's about time we change our channel name from Hobo News Network to Happy News Network anyway.
Agreed. Well, let's go back to a broadcast the other day from October 29th, 1929, when we first became the Hobo News Network.
Thank you, Rich. I'm here on Wall Street standing outside the exchange to see how the stock market performed today.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me.
Ah! The money's gone!
6,
8,
10,
12 million!
14,
1, 6, oh, 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 oh.
The stock market has crashed! Help me! The stock market has crashed! Now let's bring out our guest, stockbroker Robert Jones, to learn of his reaction to Hoover's speech and to the stock market crash.
Thank you for being with us, Mr. Jones.
My pleasure.
So, let's get right to the point. Do you think that when Hoover says the stock market will recover in less than a month, do you think that will really happen, or is it just a bunch of hogwash?
Not at all. Things aren't going to resolve themselves that quickly. I mean, things have just gone from bad to worse.
I agree. Now, Mr. Jones, you're a stockbroker. Can you explain why this is no ordinary fluctuation in the market?
Well, at the end of last month, the market had dropped in value by nearly $16 billion. Banks are closing left and right. Unemployment rates are rising. GNP is falling. Many people are starting to really wonder whether or not the nation will be able to recover from this.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Hoover is doing enough to prevent any further loss?
Absolutely not. Hoover needs to realize that this problem is not going to just disappear overnight, and he needs to start making key, serious changes in order to get the nation back on track.
Thank you for being with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you. We'll now go to a story about two girls deeply affected by this crash. Here's a story about two kids named Brady.
You were forced to sell apples on the street.
Their father
Went to Colorado to find a job.
and their mother, such a sad story.
She took her life.
When things got too hard,
She hung herself.
she hung herself,
She hung herself.
and that's the way they are now.
Selling apples for only a nickel. Apples for a nickel. Apples.
I'll take an apple.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, sir, can I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
How has this Great Depression affected you?
Well, I lost everything. I mean, I had all kinds of money before, and then all of a sudden, all my life savings were gone and I didn't have a house or heat or a job or anything.
So, does all these things leave a good impression to you of Hoover?
No. I hate him. He's just so terrible. I mean, the place that we live, we call it a Hooverville because he just didn't help us at all. And we have Hoover blankets and Hoover flags that we kind of make fun of him because we hate him.
Do you think there's anything Hoover could do to help you personally?
He could give us some money. He could lend us a hand. Anything instead of just sitting on his butt all day.
Thank you. Now back to you. I'm now here with Mrs. Clarksdale. Thank you for being with us.
You're welcome.
I just spoke to both of your daughters, and they seem devastated by all the loss that's going on.
I know, they're just so torn up over what's happened to our family.
That's horrible. Now, I also spoke with them about their father. Where might he be at the moment?
Well, with few jobs in the city, he decided the only way to find work would be to travel west and look there. However, we have no way of knowing whether or not he is okay. There is just no way out of this mess. Oh, James!
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
Thanks,
Probably
Rich.
fine. That's such a sad story, and there's many more like that across the nation. Back to you.
And for our last story, we have here with us Margaret Parker, political accountant. Margaret, what do you think is the first step needed in order to stabilize the economy?
First off, we need to get our banks back in business. Banks can provide people with loans that they need to start rebuilding their lives, but that we can only do that if we receive immediate funding from Hoover.
So once the banks are back up, how do you suppose Americans are supposed to work?
This is where the government really needs to step in. Public works projects need to be started to provide jobs for the unemployed. Jobs would give people money to spend. Money to spend would create a higher demand, which would in turn create even more jobs.
Why don't you think Hoover is taking action?
Well, I think Hoover has been reading way too many books or listening to way too many radio programs, because the every man for himself deal just doesn't seem to be working for America.
Thank you for joining us today, Margaret. Thank you for having me.
That'll be all for tonight. For HNN News, I'm Rich Man.
And I'm Adam Money. Good night, everybody.
And you stay classy, America.
Dun 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 dun.